things going?
Good training today. Looking forward to the game this weekend.
I know in the past, Caleb, you've talked about going forward and not thinking about the past, but for the last 5 games, the team hasn't scored. Goals have been hard to come by. How hard is it just to put that out of your mind?
Well, I think you got to keep the big picture in perspective. That's very important all the time. Like you said, we've been struggling to score goals. But we're on 10 points. There are 3 other teams in our conference on 10 points. 50% of the league is on 10 points. So we're right there with 10 other teams in terms of the start we've had. It's not good enough. But we're 3 points off the red line right now. So we've got a lot of games left. We're not even to a third of the season. I'm confident that based on the chances we've created that we'll score goals. We're defending really well. So that's a real positive because that was an issue last year. For me, I like the fact that we're defending well. We've got that side of things right. And we're going to grind out points because of that, just like we've grinded out points over the last several years. We missed the playoffs last year by a point, but we still ended with 49 and 57 the year prior. So I've said that this week. We get points. We grind out points. We don't always do it with 3 points every game, but over the course of the season, we slow drip points. And when we do that, because we grind out results in different places. Sometimes at home, sometimes on the road, sometimes it's a point here or there. But this team's very bought in. They're very hungry. They understand we need to score goals. That falls on the team. It falls on me. Certainly it falls on the individuals as well. There's no I in team, but there's an I in win. That's where the I has to come in. Guys have to step up and score goals and finish those chances we're getting. And I'm confident we have the players to do it.
Are you surprised that you guys haven't scored, given that the strikers that you have last year were very efficient in actually scoring goals in the short amount of time they played?
Yeah, I think again we've been getting chances, but we're going to get more chances as well with Larry in the game because he sets guys up and he unlocks defenses, so we've been getting in good positions to score, but we'll get in even more positions to score now with Larry and some of these other guys back healthy. We haven't gotten into a rhythm in that front group, because we've had Rodney out of game, Espria out of game. Valeri hasn't been in. We've tinkered a little bit with playing, Adi alone, Maxi alone, both of them together. So we have great continuity in the back 6, and that's shown in our performances and our results defensively. So we need to get in sync in the attack, and a big part of that is getting your playmaker back, your number 10, the guy that kind of makes us go.
Will Valeri get a start, or do you expect him to play more minutes?
We'll have to make a decision on that. I'm not going to show my cards too much on that, but yeah, he could start perhaps, or we can bring him off the bench another game. So that's the decision that we have to make.
How about Will's situation?
Will had 2 weekends in a row playing, building his minutes up. Like I've said, they're different injuries. We got to be careful with the muscles around that break. He's pretty sore this week, because he played 90. So we expected that. With that injury, you get that. So we played him 63 one week and 90 this week, last week. But he's a little sore, so he wasn't able to train today. So there's going to be a little bit of that 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There's no setback, but it's just the leg is sore when you put 90 minutes on a broken leg, or former broken leg. It gets sore. So there's a little bit of that this week, and so most likely won't be available the weekend, and we'll look to get him back in. Maybe another game with T2. Maybe we bring him off the bench with us. But it's going to be that type of process over the next month in bleeding him kind of back in.
Is Espria going to be available?
Yeah, Espria's available.
When you look at Montreal, they're a team that obviously we haven't seen much of in the league yet. Can you sort of give us any insight into what we should expect from them in this game?
They're a good team. Obviously, they made that run in the Champions League. We all watched it, and they made that run because they've got quality. It's deceiving to see where they're at in the table. that's for sure. But a part of that is they haven't played as many games, and they put kind of their eggs in the Champions League basket, which is what they should have been doing. So now they have to shift gears, but they're a good team. I mean, they've got pace in Oduro. They've got cleverness. In that line of three, they play underneath Oduro at times, or if they go with a McInerney, they kind of play a 4-2-3-1, but they've got cleverness underneath, and a Piatti, who's a really good playmaker, and Duca, Romero. Those two guys are good 1v1 players. They have, a hard guy in Malice. They have a box-to-box guy in Rio Coker. So they've got some nice pieces in that front six, the middle three and the front three. And then they're solid in the back line as well, and they have a good goalkeeper. So they're put together in a really good way, which is why they did well in the Champions League.
They were kind of a counter-attacking team in Champions League. Do you expect them to look to control the game more now that they're in league?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And we've talked about that as a staff a little bit. How are they going to play? They've pretty much, in the Champions League, played on the break. Defended, tried to keep things tight, and then, looking to open up teams on the counter, and it was very effective. So now, being at home, back in the league, they're playing now a team that isn't Club America, right? We're not as good as Club America, so now they try to push the game a little bit more. So there'll probably be somewhat of a transition there in how they play, but they might just continue with the counterattack as well. So we'll be ready for both ways, but they were very effective playing that way in the Champions League. So I think that's something probably they have to figure out as well, is how they're going to shift gears in the league now, playing teams that are more on their level, where they can play them out, kind of eye to eye, which means they'll be up the field a little bit more.
How does it adjust you guys how you need to prepare when you now have 3 games on the road and 3 really far games too, not even close flights?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough stretch. We knew it. The first 12 games, as soon as I saw the first 12 games, I thought this is our toughest stretch for sure. With who we were playing, we have 7 road games out of the 12. This month for me is the toughest, the month of May, with basically we have 4 road games in the next 5, with a short turnaround with the DC home game, trying to wedge that in between 2 road games with long trips. So, and we, like I said before, we got to keep that in perspective as well, because the schedule will open up a little bit, and we end with a lot of home games. So we just need to keep clawing for points, and we need to stay in the race. Because it'll open up. We'll be more at home as the season goes on, and there's some games ahead that we're going to get points. So we just have to take it a game at a time. We need to focus on the next 3. Really, I look at the 5, because you got to think about the DC, how you're going to maybe manage, the road game, Toronto, DC home, Colorado road. So you kind of got to look at that window a little bit on the back end of, really 2 long road trips, Montreal and Houston. So these next 5 games are going to be crucial that we get points. We don't need to win all 5, but we need to have a couple wins in the 5, and we need to, like I said, continue to stay in the pack.
Do you
kind
think
of
going out on the
preferable.
road would be helpful? I mean, just to kind of get out of Portland, sort some things out in Montreal. It's probably, you're going to be in a hostile environment.
No, because we're playing well, Molly. I mean, we're playing well. There's not problems. There's no issues in terms of organization, chemistry, and getting chances and mentality. I mean, we were very good against Vancouver. Vancouver is up there at the top of the table. I mean, and we played really well in that game. And you can leave the game and be disappointed because you felt you should have won, but that can't turn into a negative. And that never happens with me, although we get sometimes frustrated because we're competitors and we want to win, and especially when you play well and it doesn't fall, you get a little bit sometimes frustrated with that, but we got to channel that the right way, and we got to understand that we're playing well. It's much different when you're playing poorly, and the teams you're playing are outperforming you, and you look out of kilter, and you just don't look right, and the chemistry doesn't look right. You can tell when you see a team that's in that position, and then you start to worry. We're nowhere near being that type of team. We're playing well, so we like it being on the road, but we like being at home better. I mean, we all like to be at home. We like Portland. We like playing in front of our fans. We play well in front of our fans, frankly. We haven't always won, but we play really well. If you look at the home games this year, we've played really well in every single one of them. But we're also really comfortable on the road too. We've shown that. So either way, it doesn't matter. We've been pretty consistent home and away. You know, maybe not as good at home as we should have been, but we're pretty consistent home and away.
You're talking about a tough stretch. Is it preferable to have that early in the season rather than late?
Well, yeah,
Or
I mean,
does
I
it
think
matter?
you'd probably prefer to be, you know, have an easier start because then now obviously you get off some momentum, you know. But I knew these first 12 games would be difficult, and the goal with having a Valerian and Johnson out with a difficult schedule and a lot of road games is to, like I said, stay in the race. Stay in the race, and then things will start to open up. We get some players back, and you know we'll start getting points, piling them up.
Thanks, Caleb.
All right, thank you.